speak in any language that I understand, which is basically Armenian English and bad English.
Նայն image որ image shape կազմը նայեք բանում է։ Հիմա image-ը որ drawing image method-ը մենակ request animation frame բաշխա։
Okay, okay. All right. So actually, one of the things we're going to do today is do images. How do you draw images and so on. So you're about to get your answer. Okay. All right. So let's begin. So we began our. Oh, you can start. Okay. Welcome back. So we began our talk of game programming by learning about Canvas. So as you recall, Canvas is just an element in HTML, right? So let's go ahead and create, how do I create Canvas in HTML? Yeah, you open Canvas, close, and then Canvas, right? All right. So now I want to reference this Canvas from my JavaScript. How do I do that? I give it an identifier, let's call it Canvas. C1. Okay, and now here, what do I write? I say document, the HTML god. Get element by ID. Get the element that has the ID of C1. Okay, and that will return to me, hopefully, a canvas element. Now from this canvas, I want to draw things on this canvas, right? So what do I need? I need tools, I need paintbrush, right? I need things to be able to draw on this piece of paper. But specifically, I want to be able to draw two-dimensional things on this piece of paper. So to do this, what do I need? Get context. I need a context. Canvas.getContext 2D. 2D. This will return to me the object that has all of these things attached. It has all the functions that I need to be able to do two-dimensional rendering on the canvas. Okay so far? Let's keep going. So now I can do things like, first of all, let me give the canvas a size. How do I give it a width? Exactly. It's an object, so I can do dot width, which is its attribute, and I can set it to something like 400. So 400 pixels, canvas dot height is 300. Okay, so now let me draw a rectangle. How do I draw a rectangle in this canvas? And context dot rect. What do I need? Where do I put it? Location. I need the X, I need the Y, and then I need the size, the width and the height. Yes? So give me a location. 0, okay. 0, fine. 30 I heard, and 50, let's say. Okay, and there I go, right? So I get, it starts at 0, 0, that's right over here. And then it goes 30 width and 50 height. Clear? How do I change the color? Cool. Alright. So now, we've learned that we can do this. We also learned that we can erase things, right? We have a notion of an eraser. Do you remember what function I can call to erase things? Clear rect. So I can do context.clear rect. And let's just remove 0, 0, 5, and 5. There you go. Right? So I cleared out this area right here. Like I cleared out this rectangle. Right? Cool. I could also have just simply drawn in another rectangle. I could have done fill rect. And then, but obviously with a different color, context.fill style green. There you go. And you kind of get the similar result. Okay so far? Okay. So the other thing that we can do is we can draw images. And this, now I'm going back to the question that was given. So how do you draw an image? So up until this point, we've been creating objects like this. Const, obj is something like this. This creates a new object and puts it into obj, right? And then I can write my key value pairs inside of this. Yes? Turns out there's another way. Using a thing called a constructor. We'll talk about this stuff later. I'm not going to explain this now. But basically, you can do new image. All this will do is will create a new object, right? This is just fancy syntax for basically doing something like this, right? This creates an object, this creates an object. The difference, though, is that this will create a very specific kind of an object that already has inside of it some functions and some attributes, some general behavior, okay? So again, what this will do is create a new object. So because it creates a new object, let me put it into a variable. So const background. There. So now background contains an object, right? Okay? Just fine. Now, so it's an image, but the image needs to know where does it go and download the actual file. Okay? So for that, let me open up my trusty Google. Okay, Google. And I did background video game images, and I got all these cool backgrounds. Some of them are nicer than others. Hang on, let me go to tools and make sure that they're big. So larger than that. Let's have big pictures. You guys like this one? It's cute, right? Okay. So we do copy image address. Here we go. So now if I were to just go to that image, I would get this. Oh, it's tiny. Wait. Need to go in here maybe. Here we go. This. Ooh. Go away. Okay. Download wallpaper in. Okay. You know what? We know JavaScript, right? Inspect elements. Select this thing, delete it. Wait, select this thing, hang on. Delete that. Hang on, what's this? Inspect. Delete that, okay, good. Good, so this is the image, okay. Copy. Oh, come on! Wait. Oh, it's a relative path. Wait. I know. So we need to copy link address. There it is. Yeah. I know. Okay. All right. So we have that. So now what we do is we say, look, when you create a hyperlink or when you create an image element, what's the attribute you use to specify the location of the file? Do you remember? SRC. The source. So you do background.src and you set it to a string, which is the address of your image, the one that you want to render, okay? Now here's the thing. If I were to then right here in the next line or somewhere in my JavaScript try to then use this image, the image won't be there. Can anyone tell me why? Why is it that the moment I say that the source is this, suddenly I don't magically just have the file immediately? But it has to download this file. When the code is executing, right? It executes background, then it executes background source. Now it knows where to download from. It keeps going. It doesn't stop. Because it keeps going, the next line isn't enough time for it to have downloaded that file. To get that file, it has to go to that address, make an HTTP request, download all the bytes necessary for that file, for it then to then be able to render that file. It's an image file, right? The .jpg file. It has to get that from the server. So if you just try to use it right here, it's not going to work. You need to give it time to download. Now, if you're doing an animation, what you could simply do is just keep animating, and eventually, when it downloads, it will render. You keep animating. At first, it won't render, but then it will. This is the idea. So here's how you would do this, right? Let's get rid of this stuff. Let's bring this down a bit. Let's render it here. Okay, so now let's create our animation loop, first of all. How How do I do that?
For
A what?
for
A for? No, I just want to loop like an animation with request animation frame, all that stuff. Const loop. Let's do this. Which we will call. Okay, if I do this, loop will get called one time. I want loop to get called again and again and again and again. How do I do that?
Request animation frame.
There you go. Now it's going to keep looping and loop. So now this code here, whatever I write, is going to execute and execute and execute and execute. If you don't believe me, console.log, yay. If I come here, see, it keeps executing. That's the loop. Okay? So let me get rid of this. Hang on, let me maximize this. Okay. So, any questions regarding this code here? Is it obvious? Yes?
But this is not an infinite loop.
Awesome. Okay. So, if I didn't have request animation frame, if I just did, hang on, let me not call it right now. If instead of this, I just did this, right? Himayete kanche, jishta, et kafarat on datar. Okay, let me explain. Code executes top, bottom, right? Okay. So what will happen here, if I do it this way, is it will go in here, then 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 go in here, and it'll keep doing this. And because it's only doing that, it will not allow anything else to run, including the browser, to be able to render or update or anything. Okay? When you do request animation frame, what that means is this. It's saying run loop, it comes here, it runs whatever code you have here. Not this. Hang on. Then it says, okay, call this function the next time you re-render. The next time, later. So it schedules it. Because you're saying run this later, there is time in between that time and this time. And in that window of time, other things can happen. This so the browser can update, it can render, other JavaScript can run, other things can happen. So you're not pegging the browser anymore. You're letting it go and allowing the processor to do other things in that process. So it is an infinite loop. It is an infinite loop. But it's an infinite loop that has this time in between, allowing other things to work. Okay. Other questions regarding how this works? We're okay. All right. So if we have this infinite loop, within here, what we could do is so look here, if I try to draw something here, so let's see, how do I find out how to draw something on a canvas? You tell me. How? I don't know how to do it. How do I do it? Google. Okay, Google. So, draw. Yeah. Hello? Hello? Why is it not typing? Okay. Draw image on canvas element. Fair search. Draw image. Interesting. Let's see. So when this opens, eventually. Okay. So what does it take? Let me see an example. Draw. Look at this. Context draw. Let me just. Ooh, wait. This has a bit more than I need. I just need the basic one. So this is all the documentation that tells you how it works. We want the dx, dy, dwidth, dheight. This one. So let me copy this. Copy that. Okay, good. Go back to our code and paste it there. So instead of this, it's context. Draw image. This is our background. So let me copy that. Okay, where do we want to draw the image? Let's draw that, because it's a background image, let's draw it throughout the entire canvas, right? So let's do 0, 0. Canvas.width and canvas.height. Just good at see? There it is. Okay, now you might say, wait, but you drew it right there. How did it work? Can anyone guess how? Look, all I did was I set the source and then immediately I did draw. Let me give you a hint. If I did it in incognito, it wouldn't happen that fast. Do you guys know what a cache is? Anyone? Okay, so here's what happens. When you tell the browser to download a file, if you ask the file download the same file again, it already downloaded it. It's not going to go and download it again. It already has it. Make sense? Okay, so that's why it's there. But so let me take this and put it into my loop. Okay, so now I keep drawing this background, right? Here's the background, very fancy. Okay, so now let's draw a character, like Mario or a ninja or something. All right, so we need a character. So let's, again, okay Google, so video game hero, maybe, images. That's not the hero I wanted. Wait, why am I seeing... Do you guys like ninjas?
Yes.
Yes! Ninja video game character. Oh, I don't want like a cute video game character. Wait, cute ninja.
Animation something.
Ne kebab karda It's how is background.
It's background.
Oh, by the way, what you can do is look. You can go to tools, color, and you can do transparent. So now we have transparent background. I don't want these. I want something cute. Ninja cute. Oh, there you go. My kind of ninja. All right, good.
No, the monkey ninja.
The monkey ninja? This one?
It's very cookie.
Oh, I like this one. All right, good. So copy image address. All right, so let's go back to our application. Okay, so let's create another const hero ninja. There you go. New image. And then ninja.source is that address, right? Okay, so now we're going to draw this ninja. So one of the things that we learned last time is in a game you have lots of objects, right? You're going to have bullets, you're going to have birds, you're going to have flying ninja stars, you're going to have characters, good guys, bad guys, right? You're going to have all these different elements in your game. Each of those elements should be represented in your data. As data, okay? So let's describe a ninja, okay? In programming, I want to have information about a ninja. Forget like rendering things. I just want information. I need to know where the ninja is. I need to know what direction he's going or she, right? I need to know information about the ninja. What size is the ninja, right? How tall is the ninja? How fat is the ninja? Whatever, right? I need to know about the ninja. Yes? Okay, so how do I do that?
Objects are.
Exactly. I can create an object called the const hero, which is just an object, right? And in it, I can say the image for this should be ninja, right? I want this to be the image that we use. Let me give it an x coordinate. Where should the hero start the game? Okay, I could do zeros. Okay, let's start with 0, 0 for now. X, Y is 0. How tall should the hero be? You know what we could do is we could actually compute that relative to the size of the canvas, right? So what we could do is we could say like width, okay, maybe the width is, whatever, no, screw it, let's just do this. And height is 50, all right, fine. We want to know the delta. The delta is what tells us the change, what we're going to use to change its direction. Is it going forward, is it going backward? An x delta of 1 means it's moving in this direction. An x delta of -1 means he's going to move in that direction, right? Okay, so for now, let's just assume, you know what, let's assume he's not moving. Y delta 0, he's not going to move for now. Okay, so we have the location, the size, where he's moving, and an image. I'd say that's enough. Okay. The other thing I need to be able to do is I need to be able to draw this ninja, right? So I need a function. Okay, so in this function I'm going to draw the ninja. How do I draw a ninja? Well, I can just copy this code here. And instead of background, I need to do this.image, this dot x, this dot y, hang on, this dot width, and this dot height. Do you guys remember? I'm not going to get into that box again. Do you guys remember what this is? It's the object that this function is running inside of, in the context of. Okay? So you're basically referring, you could have, this is the same thing as this. SOS havasarım. SOS havasarım. Pausa. Okay. So this is what will draw it, and then we also need an update function. And what do we do in update? What do you think we should do? Yeah, so let's do this dot x plus equals this dot x delta. And then this dot y plus equals this dot y delta. Alright. So for now, x delta and y delta are both 0, right? So when update gets called, nothing's going to change in x and y, which means the ninja will not move. Right? Fine. For now, that's okay. So now, let's start doing fun things. So now, let's call hero dot draw, hero dot update. There's our hero. Wow, that's not a very cute hero. It's a little pixelated, but whatever. Okay. So ideally, I want the hero here, right? I don't want him way up here. So how do I bring the hero down a bit? You click up news, yeah. So let's change this to like, I don't know.
Canvas, page.
Yeah, you're right. I could have done. That was too much. Okay, Mikic, Mirobe. Sam. Got away. You could. Closer. Yarasın yerku. Yarasın yerek. Alright, better.
Yes.
Sort of better. Alright. So we have a ninja with a cookie in this background, right? Obviously, you guys can play with this and choose better images. Right, okay, I'm not going to get into that. Fine. Okay, so we have a cute ninja. So now, I want the ninja to move, ideally. So in order to move, all I have to do is change x delta to 1. Right? And now the ninja's moving. Okay, that's cool. Right? Mildly cool. By the way, if I didn't keep drawing a background here, what would happen? What would happen?
Because we switched that and shot it before.
Nike. Hine Chamjinju. Iran Veran Nekaruma, Michesko Nekaruma, Michesko Media Nekaruma. Exactly. What I do is every time the new animation starts, I repaint the entire screen with the background. So I paint over the old ninja, the new background, and then I draw the new ninja. Then I repaint over everything and I draw the new ninja. Askatsanche? Yeah? Okay. So now if I get rid of this, now you get this. Ամեն նկարելուց background-ը նորից ամեն ինչի վրայով sense նկարում եմ, հետո նոր իր վրա նկարում եմ, հետո ինի ամեն ինչի վրա background։ Ինչ է՞։ Ու ձեռը մուտիկ են նկարում թուղթ են փող, չէ՞։ Հետո okay. Good. Okay, so we have something. Now, what can we do with this ninja? Let's control the ninja. Right? So right now it's just sort of going by its own. Okay, so if you think about it, x delta and y delta are the things that decide where it's going. Let's have it fly. Oh wait, sorry. Let's have it fall off the cliff. Alright, there, now it's flying, right? Whee! How do you make it so it flies this way? Extend following, exactly. Now if we do this, now it's like, whee, superhero. Right? Okay, so let's keep this at 0. In other words, something that you might have noticed, listen, a nuance that you might have noticed, is that all we have to do is change x delta and y delta, and that will change the direction of our character, right? So all we need, if we could only find some way to get an event, and based on that event, we could then decide, we could just change the x delta or y delta of our character, thereby changing the direction they're going. When you're playing a video game, right, when you press like up, down, left, right, and you're playing, right, every time you're going like left or right, all you're doing, really, one way you can think about it, is you're just changing the x and y delta using this, right, using your joystick. Okay, so we don't have a joystick right now, but we do have keys, up, down, left, right. Yes? Okay. So, I forgot, how do I get those events? I think I had it in the homework. Didn't I? Let's see, we go to Moodle. I have to log in, I guess. Wait, do I have to log in to see the things? Yes, I do. I log in. I tell everyone what the password is. No, I don't. Okay. So, we go to...
Wait.
Oh, here we go. Homework 5, right? Homework 5? Where is that code I gave you? Ah, this one. No, stop it. Okay, so I copy this and I come back to my code. Ah. So, let's see what this is. So, look, I have 4 constants that map to some numbers, right? So it's a left key that maps to like 37. Why? I'll tell you in a moment. Don't worry about it. Document, remember, is the thing that kind of manages all the HTML, right? It's the HTML god, okay? But this time, instead of requesting an element by ID, instead I'm saying add event listener. So I'm saying I want to know when this happens. And what is this? Key down. In other words, I'm saying, hey, browser, anytime the user presses a button, tell me. That's it. Tell me by calling the function I give you. Okay? So whenever someone presses a key, it calls this function. And it passes to me an object, which I'm calling event. It's just an object as input to my function. Now that object has a property called key code, which has a number inside. And that number tells you which of the keys the user pressed. Let me say that again. I tell the browser, tell me when the user presses a key by calling a function. It calls that function and gives me an object. That object .keyCode will be the number that represents which button the user pressed. And these are the keys. 37 means the user pressed the left key. Up key is 38, and so on and so forth. Okay? So up key is the same thing as saying 37.
38.
Oh, sorry, left. This is left key. Sorry, thank you. So this is the left key, right? Left key is 37. If I did 38, that would be the up key. So instead of just writing 38 here, because it's harder to reason about the code, instead I put them into these constants. Because now when you look at the code, you no longer see something like 38, you just see up key, and it's clear what it means, right? Awesome. Okay. So now let's do this. Whenever I press right, I want the ninjas to start moving in this direction. So how do I check for right key? So right key. Whenever this happens, let's do hero.xdelta to, how do I make it move this way? I could do plus, because it's 0, and I could do plus, but let's have it be just 1. Okay, so let's see what happens. And is it at 0, 0 now? Yes, it is. So now here's the ninja, and if I hit right, it goes. But I want to be able to... Hence Hanen Gagni. So here's the thing. A lot of times you can do that. You can do key down. You can do key up. So you can do another event, key up. Key and here you do x. Actually, you can just set it to 0. Okay. So now let's try. There's a scroll bar here. Hang on, let me make the canvas a bit smaller. Sorry, 1 second. Or I can just maximize, make it 350 by 200 to 80. Okay. We'll move the ninja later, but nej, Palmen, so let's see. Yes. Yeah, they're the key. Okay, look, I'll say it one more time. Look, when key is pressed down, right? When you press a button, it calls this function and gives me an object. That object has a property called key code. That key code contains a number. That number tells you which key it was. Got it? So now, if you're asking, well, how do I know which buttons map to which keys? There are 2 ways. One is we could do this. Watch this. Console log that number, and then you come here, and you watch what happens. Here they are. Here we go. Okay, watch. What happens if I press K? 75. What happens if I press Y? 89. What happens if I press right? They're constant numbers. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, good. So, right. And do you want it to jump? Or wait, why don't we have it also go that way? Right? So we can go right, makes sense that we can go left, right? So why don't we, if the event key code, if event.keycode is equal to left key, what do I do? Yeah, let me format this a bit. 1 second. You check out. Got away. Okay. That's it. Okay. Okay, so now, look. Right stop, left stop. Whee! I can move my ninja around. Oh, let me get rid of these console logs. We don't need those. Essa zupina hasni. Miał kiswi. Anać stolbikin? Okay. Okay. So she wants that, right? Okay. So first of all, instead of Ganat Stolbik, because it's just a part of the background image and it's a little difficult to gauge, let's just create another object. Because the Stolbik is an object, right? It's called Stolbik. Okay. So let's create an image called Stolbik. Stolbik.source should be. Okay, Google, find me a Stolbik.
Transparent.
Oh yeah, transparent. So let's go to Tools, Color, Transparent. But I don't think it's called Stolbik, guys. Mario. Hang on, Mario. It's one of the. Can we? Oh, here we go. Wait. But it's a soft tuning.
You can click on that and there will be.
Esa.
Nice.
Aber das ist Bildung, ja. Até hangi ne? Projekt neyi zamana kadar? Test. Yes, okay. So, save, copy image address, here we go. Alright, so, we go back to our code. Okay, so, our Stolbik needs some information, right? It needs to know where it So we need an object that represents stolbik. So const stolbik 1. Why do I say stolbik 1? Because maybe we then have stolbik 2, stolbik 3, stolbik, right? You can have lots of stolbiks. Okay. Okay, so a stolbik has, what do I need to know about the stolbik? The height, the width, the location, right? All these things. So we'll figure out, where should I put it? Let's just guess, roughly.
Where is your
My size is 350 by 280. Huh? Nekare? Da besa kenai. Okay, mita ksain keto kenai. Okay, let's have it, I don't know, 100, 100, 100, y be, müsse ince, yekvar hissun, tasnehin, yekvar, Albany Master total integers. So let's have the width be, I don't know, 25, and have the height be a little bit more than the ninja. So ninja's 50, let's have it be 80. Okay, so we have width, x, does the stolbik need to move? So we don't actually need an x delta and y delta. We do need to draw it, right? Right, it needs an image, image of draw function. Okay, I got it, right? Oh, that's it. Actually, it's the same thing. Draw, update. Actually, so right now there is no update for stolbik, right? But if you think about it later, maybe we have, like, you guys play Mario, right? You know that thing that comes out of the stolbik? It's like a plant that goes and then goes back down. Okay, so maybe that's what we would put here later, but okay, whatever. So for now, update does nothing. Okay, so good. So we have a stolbik. Let's just see what happens. Did I actually call the draw or render of the stolbik from anywhere? No, right? So here I have to come here and I have to say again, so hero draw stolbik one dot draw, then hero dot update stolbik one dot update. Oh, it's this. Here we go. Okay, so we need to move it up a bit and make it, let's just make the height smaller. Let's just make the height smaller. So the height was 80, let's make it 60. Okay, not bad. Let's bring it down a bit and then maybe, actually that's fine, it can just stay there. Let's have the y be, oh sorry, thank you. So have the y be 202. Perfect. Alright. So now we have our stolbik. Hang on. But we can walk right under. Now question. Why is it that our ninja is walking underneath, behind the stolbik? Why is it not walking in front of the stolbik? Because I draw the hero, then I draw the stolbik. Երբ որ դուք թղթի վրա նկարում եք մի բան, հետո նկարում եք ուրիշ բան, այդ վերջին բանը մյուսի վրա է, չէ՞ ստացվում։ Հերթականությունը նկարելու կարևոր է։ If I did the opposite, if I did stolbik then the hero, stolbik նկարեմ, հետո ninja։ Այդ հիմա դիմացով անցնում։ Այդ scroll bar-ն է, որ թափում այս կոմենտով իրոք է։ Okay, there we go. Nice. Very nice. Okay. So, alright, so this is fine, but our goal, remember, was to come here and stop, right? So what that means is we need what's known as a hit test.
It's more important than choosing.
Huh?
It's not the coordinate changing.
դրանց հետ կարող է գտնել, չէ՞, առաջ չի կարող, բայց հետ կարող է գտնել։ Հետո է թռնի վրայով։ Okay. So, all right. So, we wanted to stop. Okay, so we're the hero. Here's the hero. Listen, listen, listen. This is what makes the hero move to the right. Correct? By Okay, listen. So here in the update is where you check to see. Listen, listen, listen. Is where you check to see what should happen to our hero. Should it go forward? Should it not go forward? So you compare it to bullets. Did a bullet hit my hero? Is my hero dead now? Should my hero raise the hand? Should it punch? What should it do? That's what is decided in the update. Okay? So here what we do is we have a hero and we have Stolvik 1, right? Hero. We have a reference to Stolvik 1 and we have a reference to our hero, which is this. So this is our hero. Stolvik 1 is Stolvik 1. How do I know if the hero reached a Stolvik?
You count your x coordinates are the same.
Yeah. So if this dot x, so let's do an if statement, is what? You tell me what to do. Is equal to what? Okay, it's possible. I want to see this. Okay, then this dot x delta should be 0. And it should do it also. Okay? Nice. Եկա, կագնացի։ Ինչի եկավ հասավ ստեղ։ Որտև իր x-ը ու սրա x-ը հավասարվեցին, ոտարապես։ Չէ, ինքը մի քիչ ստեղ padding ունի դրա համար ասած։ Դրա համար լայնությունը պետք է հաշվի առնել։ Չէ? Okay, so now let's go back here and say if this dot x plus this dot width is greater than, or yeah, is equal to, fine. Boom, boom, boom. So, that's a jump out of shot. Ինչի չեմ կարող շարժել։ Որտեղ միշտ ինչ էլ լինի, ինքը վсё, ապստեղ ասել է, ամեն update-ի ժամանակ ինքը նորից զորացնում է։ So, congratulations. Who was it that wanted this? And why did you want this? So, listen, in your assignments, we have not one Stolvik, but a bunch of Stolviks jumping around, moving around, right? Every Stolvik is moving around. And you have an array of Stolviks, but you don't call them Stolviks, you call them little balls. Let me explain to you what I want in your homework. First of all, one thing you'll notice is that if we keep doing hero.update, Stolvik 1.update, then as you add more Stolviks, you do Stolvik 2.update. Maybe you put the Stolviks into an array, so it turns into an array of Stolviks. So you do, for let I equal 0, I is less than my Stolviks dot length, right? I plus plus. And then for each Stolvik, you want to do whatever's my Stolviks I dot update, right? And then here you want to do all the Stolviks dot draw and so on. And so what you end up with is a whole bunch of code in one function. It's a bad idea to put too much code in one function. So what I asked you to do in the homework is to create a separate function called update and a separate function called draw. And all the draw stuff goes in here, in here, and all the update stuff goes in here. And then from loop, you simply call draw and update. That's cleaner. So draw is update is responsible for calling the update of every element. Draw is responsible for calling the draw of every element. A lot of people were confused by this, so I want to make sure that this is clear. Yes? Sure. You take all this stuff and you bring it back here. and you take all of this stuff and you bring it back here. Instead of putting everything into one big function like this, instead I'm taking the management of doing all the drawing, of drawing all the different elements, and I'm putting it into a separate function called draw. The management of all the updates I'm putting into a separate function called update, and then from here I'm simply calling draw and update. In other words, I'm calling this one, and then I'm calling this one. John. That is a beautiful animation loop. So this is where you put all your draw management, this is where you put all the update management. And then each element has its own personal update and draw function. Cool? Yes? Let's see what time it is. Okay, I want to do something with you guys that the people from last year really loved.
What?
Dropping the glasses.
Ah.
Yeah. Thug life glasses.
Okay.
Yeah. So here, where's my ninja? Okay, so here's my ninja. That's not yet. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it so that. Oh, I know. Let's make it so that once on night. Mein Herz, es kann nicht Wasser sein, aber Wasserstoff. Halt dich eigentlich. Kind of is something. It's better than nothing. Hero that updates the old big one. Okay. I took out that if statement, so now we can jump more freely. Okay, question. I want to make this ninja jump. Okay. Fair point. So we go to that event handler, and we say, else if event.keyCode is equal to upkey, hero.x delta, no, y delta, or hero, sorry, y delta equals what?
No, minus.
Right. Wait. Okay. So now if I hit up, exactly, -1. Very good. So it needs to be -1 because remember it grows downward, right? Okay. So now if I go that way, so I can move left and right, and I can go up, and I can move left and right. That's great, but it's still going, oh my god. Oh, okay, it's gone. Let me reset this again. And again, if I go up, now I can still move left and right, but it's still, you know. Okay. So that happens. And that's where upkey to So here, I said something. Stay najkiczkę. So what you need to do is somehow start drawing things downward. I could do the animation that does downward, but I feel like the code is starting to get bigger and bigger, and I'm worried about losing some of you. So I'm going to stop right there. Yes. Got it. Okay, this is the goal. I wanted to give you guys enough that you guys can begin to extrapolate how to do the rest. Good. Okay. Awesome. But I'm not going to actually do it in class. Okay, so when you do your homework, and let's say this is your canvas, right? And you have a box. You're going to have like an X delta and Y delta that's going to move the box. When the box hits the wall, if it hits this wall, which delta are you going to change? The X delta, right? X delta շուրեկալը որ հետ գա։ Որ ստեղ խփի X delta շուրեկալը որ հետ գա։ Ճիշտ է, չէ՞։ What happens if it touches one of these? Y delta next շուրեկալը։ Ու դա ինքը կգնա սենց խփի, դամ կգնա։ Pause, չէ՞։ Then you put a hero in the middle, and you have the hero run around, running away from all of those boxes that are running around. At each loop, you're going in the update of the hero, you're going to check is the hero touching any of the boxes. So you loop over all your boxes and you check, does the hero touch this box? If the hero is touching the box, you know the hero has been hit. Game over.
How can we add the sound to the sound?
See, I put in slides, like game development for ninjas. There's a tutorial in there, you can see how I do it. Yeah, you want to do boing, yeah. Okay. Cool. 12:55. Okay. A new concept. First of all, tell me how I can write a function that computes a factorial. Wait, what? We're doing math again? Yes, we are. How do I do it?
Now I was
Each?
that now equals 1.
Guys, how do I compute the factorial? Science? 1. Then? You guys still use while. Very cute. Okay, while. Huh? You want to do a 4? Okay, let's do the while, then we'll do the 4, because everyone loves while. While I is...
No, not I.
Huh? Less than val. Okay, you check on the do I. Aya havasara ay akam val. Sense?
Why do Vala make?
While val means on make. Ima valid you check on. Sense? Kalia sets up. Okay, what are we doing? Ինչպես որ անենք, val minus 1. Sense?
Return
I. Hey guys, say it with me. I. This is I. I care about these things because when I work with, most of your clients are going to be outside of Armenia, just so you know. And if you say E to programmers that work over there, they're going to think you're talking about this. This is E, this is I. Two very different letters. Okay. Alright, so, okay, so now we can do fact 5. Console.log that, and we get 120. Very good! Alright, I'm proud of you guys. You guys did a great job. Now let's rewrite this using a for loop so we don't have to do this, this, and this. Help me do it with a for loop. For let I be 1. Val is greater than 1. Val is equal to val minus I just need to do this guy. Opa. Opa. Fazla or es nündenç besrokesa? Yes? Oh, sorry. It's make actually. Sounds good, yeah. See? So we don't have an initializer, we have the condition and we have the increment. Kind of cool. Alright, let's go back to the while. It's less confusing too. Okay. Hima, listen. There's another way of doing this. Is going to be on your quiz, pay attention. It affects my GPA, oh my god. Okay. There's another way to do a loop. You guys saw this in animation, right? Where we kept calling the same function over and over. So notice that loops have two very specific things. They have the thing that loops and they have the thing that stops the loop. Right? You need a mechanism to make the loop and the mechanism to end the loop. So you need a looping mechanism and a termination mechanism. A mechanism to stop it. Watch this. Pay attention. What do you think will happen here? Well, once I call it, of course. How did this work? This is called recursion. Recursion. The same thing keeps happening over and over again. You see this code here? It happens over and over again as long as this is true, right? Well, this keeps calling fact R, which then comes here, causing fact R, which comes in, calling fact R, and that is what causes the loop. This is what causes the loop to stop. This one. Raise your hands if you kind of get it. Wow. Nice. All right. Can everyone see this line? No? Turn on the lights. What time is it? It's 1:03. No, we can do it. Okay. Here's what happens. We call fact R with a 5. Right? Okay. That goes into the code. Is val, what is val? 5. It's the 5 I passed in from here, right? Is 5 equal to 1? No. So I do val, which is 5, times, what is val minus 1? 4. In other words, I do times fact R 4. Right? What does that do? When we go into this one, what is val now? 4. Is 4 equal to 1? No. So I do val, which is 4 times fact R, and I pass in 4 minus 1, which is 3. Right? Okay, then I go into that one. When you do fact R with 3, that time val is 3. Is 3 equal to 1? No. So 3 times fact R of 2. 3 times fact R of 2. Then we go into this one. Is 2 equal to 1? Is 2 equal to 1? Do we hit this case? No. So 2 times fact R of 1. If I call fact R with 1, what happens? It returns val, which is 1. Right? Done. So that means this returns 1. Right? Can everyone see this path here? If you can see it, here's what happens. So fact R returns 1, right? Which means this becomes a 1. 2 times 1? 2. Right? This becomes a 2. So this returns a 2 and becomes a 2. Two times 3? 6. So this returns a 6. Six times 4? 24. So this returns 24. Did we make a mistake? Okay. And 24 times 5, 120. Therefore, fact R5 turns into 120. Buzzer. Oh, thank you. You guys are too kind. All right, good. We'll do more work on recursion later. For now, let's take a photo and go home.
We're not going home.
Huh?
We're not going home.
Or don't go, I guess.
Hi guys.
Հայրը խոսալ, բասի։
Բարև ձեզ։ Այսօր միացած Detroit-ի մասին բոլոր գիտեք, չէ՞։ Ուրեմն ով չգիտի ասեմ, ամերիկյան համալսարանում Detroit-ը կա, Hackerspace-ը ինքը ծրագրավորողների տեղ է, որտեղ կարող գնանք, լիքը պրոֆեսիոնալներ գալիս են դասն են տալիս, իրանց գիտելիքներով այդ կիսում են։ Հիմա այնտեղ լիքը դա workshop-ներ ա գնում ու կարող մտնեք մեր Facebook-յան մեջ, տեսնեք այնտեղ